Hello, my name is Tanisha Hensley, and I will be presenting my macro change project. So my project is a financial aid seminar. This proposed seminar will have two primary focuses, student loan repayment and consequences of loan default. So Prepare is an assessment tool used to assess the potential for organizational or community change. Each letter represents a step to a process. So I will be focusing on two steps, and the first step I focused on is identify the problem. And my problem is that there is a lack of financial aid literacy programs here on campus at Winston-Salem State University. My primary goals, which is establishing the primary goals, is the second step. And my primary goal is for the financial aid seminar is to teach Winston-Salem State University students about how to repay student loans. And moving along with Imagine. Imagine is the process to conduct a macro change. Each letter represents a step, just like Prepare. And the following slides will go more into detail about the steps that I've focused on. So M, muster support. Amina Richburg is a financial aid counselor here at Winston-Salem State University. Upon speaking to her, she has agreed that many students were not aware of the loan repayment process. And Amber Jones is another person who supports me. She's a student who took the survey that I constructed. She volunteered to be identified. She said she had no clue about how to pay her student loans back, and that if the seminar was going to be implemented, she would love to attend. So G, goals and objectives. The goal of the seminar is to educate Winston-Salem State University students about how to pay back their student loans, as I've stated before. And the objectives of this goal, Tanisha, that's me, will assess the needs of a seminar through a survey, and Tanisha will communicate the findings to the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships. So implementing the plan. Before I reached out to the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships, I wanted to be prepared and have some knowledge about this topic. So I did some research on how to pay back student loans, the consequences of student loan default. I wanted to use this information so just in case they wanted me to have a presentation already put together, I would be able to do that. So after I did all the research, I constructed a survey of 5 questions, and the survey was designed to be anonymous. And I administered the survey to 35 students total in 2 different locations. The first location that I gave the survey to was in the mailroom, and then I moved locations and moved to Hill Hall. So these are my survey results. So for the question, do you know when and how you can pay back student loans? 32 people said no, and 3 people said yes. Have you ever been on the FAFSA website for anything other than the application? 33 people said no, and 2 said yes. Do you know the difference between unsubsidized and subsidized loans? 34 people said no, and 1 said yes. Do you know the consequences of defaulting on the loan? 29 people said no, and 6 people said yes. And do you know what it means to default on a loan? 23 people said no, and 12 people said yes. So after I created my survey, I emailed the Director of Financial Aid and Scholarships, Mr. Robert Muhammad. He never responded, so I made an office visit. And there in the office, I was greeted by a student receptionist, and he took down my information. And I never got a response from Mr. Muhammad. So then I went back again, and there was an administrator at the desk, a receptionist, and she passed along the message to Ms. Richburg. So after she passed along the information, I received a phone call from her, and Ms. Richburg is a financial aid counselor. She agreed that the topic should be discussed. However, she was worried that the seminar would not have much student participation due to previous events that the staff of Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships have held in the past. She offered to speak to Mr. Muhammad about implementing the seminar during the one-stop sessions that happened this semester. I agreed to let her speak to Mr. Muhammad on my behalf. I waited a week before I contacted her. I decided to visit the office. However, she was busy with some students, and the receptionist promised to pass along the message for me. So I waited about 2-3 days and didn't hear back. So I emailed her, and she told me that the itinerary for the one-stop sessions had already been finalized. I was a little discouraged because, she agreed that the seminar was a great idea and that, the students needed to hear this information. I feel like if I would have been able to meet with Mr. Muhammad and Ms. Richburg together, I would have been able to communicate it to Mr. Muhammad, a little more effectively. So now I'm considering just how I can get this information out. So far, I've considered creating a flyer and sending it in an email blast, just with journal tips and ideas about how students can pay back their student loans and direct them to the FAFSA website, because that is the main source that I use, and it has a lot of information. And I've also considered holding a seminar through the NAACP, or encouraging the investment club to hold it, or maybe we can partner, or however that would work.